Welcome back. You're still listening to the sound of Lagos, Mainland 98.3 FM. Quick time check is about 8:40 a.m. and it's time for Mainland Focus. Basically, you get the opportunity to call in and talk to us about whatever story you think is pressing, probably stories that were not captured in the papers, or stories of things that are happening in your area that you think is of national significance. You get the opportunity to call into the station and talk to us about it. It's Mainland Focus, and then you get to choose whatever story you would like to focus on. My name is Sage Babalola. Fuhad is going to also be joining me virtually as we review some of the stories that he believes to be of great significance. And for the sake of those who probably were incapable of joining the show earlier today and they're not privy to the reports in the papers, I can do us the quick favor of running through these headlines again, or at least the significant headlines again, so that if you don't have any particular story you want to bring to the front burner, you might as well contribute to the stories that we reviewed earlier today on trends in the papers. The most important story, that I would like to think is the most important, is our rising debt profile. Apparently, the Senate has approved the 23.7 trillion naira ways and means loaned by the CBN. Just like Fuhad has defined for us, this is basically just monies collected by the CBN in most cases to bridge our budget deficit, or that's what we've been using it for anyways. There are many concerns about this particular scenario. In fact, we have economists saying that this is a breach of the CBN Act, because there is a provision in there, the CBN Act 2007 and also 2023, that the Ways and Means loan should be nothing higher than 5% of the revenue of that nation. And a cumulative sum of the revenue that we made in 2020, as reported, is about 12.7 trillion naira. So we really should not be getting anything more than 600 billion at most. But here we have a cumulative sum of about 23.7 trillion naira. We are worried about what implication this is going to have. The payment plan has been spread across 40 years. It has been securitized, so it's going to be done in form of treasury bills, bonds and what have you. And people are saying that this would even create a room for worse problems, because this particular financial structures involve that you would actually pay interest. We're also talking about the industrial action, or we weren't able to go through that story, but apparently there was an industrial action that led to flight cancellation. We had members of NLC and NUC storming the airport, apparently because they have a problem with the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma. All flights to Owerri were cancelled, and we have airline operators counting their loss as we speak, and the loss that happened as a result of that industrial action that happened is about 1.2 billion naira. At least those are the losses that have been reported so far. We're also talking about the consensus arrangement, or should I say the confusion as to what is going to happen with the 10th Assembly. Are we going to see concession? Are we going to see a consensus? I beg your pardon. Are we going to see, the position being zoned? No decision has been made. So far, so good. So those are the four major stories I think were replicated across all the papers. Before we open the phone line, let's talk to Fuhad so that he can tell us what story he seems or he deems more important. Fuhad. Hello, Fuhad. Okay, we're unable to hear him. We're going to get Fuhad back on the line, but regardless, you can still start sending in your contributions. Remember that you are not necessarily obligated or mandated to speak about any of the stories reported in the papers. You can talk about whatever you like, respectfully, of course, but then if you want to talk about the story, you are granted the luxury of doing so. The phone lines 0913 6000 410. We do have the number for WhatsApp messages and text messages 0913 6000 430. We are live on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. You can also send a text message. That's for those of you who do not have a smartphone. Fuhad, are you here now?
Yeah, with you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. So Fuhad, yes, what story is it for you today?
So two stories quickly. The first would be the visit of President-elect Rivers State. He's still there. And the statements made about owing or not owing, and the need for the governor to lobby and to get refund for federal projects that have been done by the state government. Now, again, for me, I'm not looking at the politics of that statement. I'm more interested in what affects us as a people, and the need for us to look at running a proper federal system of government, evolution of power, in structuring of the country, where states can control their resources and fix their problems. The idea of lumping too many things at the center, we need to weaken the center. So much so we don't have a situation where the governor has to lobby the president to fix the roads in his own state. So what that statement has brought up again is the need for us to put it on the front burner. We need to restructure the country. We need to devolve power. What we have in the exclusive list is too much. It needs to come to the concurrent list. And as a major priority has to be the issue of resource control too. So that's that for me. The other one is the issue of the ways and means loans. Now the confusion we have with that also brings to the front burner the need for us to look at our revenue profile. We need to do a whole lot to earn more. We are over borrowing. We are borrowing the country and we are running into trouble if we are not careful. We are already arguing by the cliff. If we are not careful, the country is going to tilt over. So we need to look at that loan. Yes, there are issues with the legality or illegality of how the Buhari administration has handled the ways and means loans. We have to fix that. But ultimately, we also need to look at our revenue profile as a country, generate more so that we can move from this era of borrowing and borrowing.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Fuhad, for your perspective. It's time for us to talk to our listeners. What story does it for you today? What would you like to bring to the front burner this morning? You have 2 minutes to talk to us on radio. Please, I would appreciate if you respect the time that has been granted to you. You have 2 minutes. There's a lot of people who have something to say. Stick to 2 minutes, and once you start to get a prompt to round off your submissions, I would most definitely appreciate that you do that. Remember, the rules are still the same. You do not slander anyone. There will be no accommodation of character assassination. If you must reference the position of another listener, do so respectfully or do not reference it at please. I would really like for us to have, an objective, full, informative conversation this morning on radio. Let's take our first call. Hello.
Good morning, Sid.
Yes, good morning. And also turn down the volume on your radio. Thank you.
I've done that.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, this is Thomas from my Sherry.
Welcome.
Looking at it with this current government that is standing up this month, they will still pass their borrowing to the incoming governor, because looking at they did not have vision at all. And Senate is still approving borrowing money. Who is going to pay the money? The one they borrow, they are yet to pay it off, and they are borrowing more. That is number one. For now, across board, we are here to have a leader that has vision for this nation. Presently, we just have only leaders that are lazy and borrowing continue. And second one, the issue of Wiki, where all of us who are watching now, we will see what we come to at the end of the day. For version, if we have a minister appointment, and we are going to see how the incoming government, they are going to run their government with all the magu across board. Lastly, the issue of Kirimado, it is a big lesson to Nigeria. Thank God that the incident happened in UK, and many people are pleaded that the December mercy with judgment. For a version, there is such an incident happening in Nigeria. Kirimado will just go free. Nobody will speak for that young boy.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
No. Nigeria's constitution did not have a lever to do such a thing. We abuse power in this country. But thank God over there's no way that you can abuse power. The law will just catch up with that test. So it's a lesson for Nigeria that we must have a leader who has a vision, who has a constitution that it will work for both the rich and the poor.
That's my point. All right, we appreciate your submissions. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, morning to you. Yes.
Good morning. You have Mr. Pagwade. I'm calling from Sango.
All right, please go ahead.
I want to put on this way and me that people are talking about. And I'm really disappointed about the noise that is going on and those and me. By our editors, journalists, politicians, and professors, this I regard as being enslaved. What they are doing is just synonymous with what we call mental slavery. I'm saying this because when you look at the central bank, their reserves, either in money, in foreign or local, belong to us in Nigeria. And we live what are the functions of central bank. Out of the major functions of central bank all over the world, thinking of currency, the giving way to government of their country, and so on and so forth. Now, they are required to perform these functions that people are starting. That this is not good. They do not go and do this. They do not do that. What belongs to us rightly. Why instead they want us to go to IMF, the World Bank, where they will tell our hair with conditionality. I'm sure some of you are aware when the bank was there that went to IMF to borrow money. That led to the devaluation of Naira by about 220%.
But hold on a second. You do understand that the problem is not with the fact that the federal government has approached the CBN for finances. The problem is there is a breach of the CBN Act. How much money the government can collect from the CBN has to be 5% of previous earning, and our previous earning was 12.7 billion trillion. So there's a rule there, and they've breached it.
What I'm saying is the same people that are pointing out this CBN Act are the lawmakers. The law is not made for us. We are not made for the law. The law is made for now. So this is what we should do. We amend the law and let us access the money instead of go to World Bank. They go to World Bank and even take 1/3 of that money. They tell you to devalue the currency by about 200%.
We still pay interest for the Ways and Means loan. You know that, right? We pay interest now that it's in form of bonds.
Against all of us. We should go and access it without anything attached. That is the solution. People should change their mind.
Okay. I don't think that you understand how these things work. There's a financial structure for it. Now, especially now that it's been securitized and it's now bonds and treasury bills, we will pay interest. And might I remind you that the current interest rate is about 18%. I don't know if, the rate would be somewhat malleable for the sake of the government, but we pay interest. Whether we borrow from ourselves or we borrow from international communities, we will still service those debts until we're able to pay back. But I understand you and I acknowledge your perspective on the matter. Thank you for calling. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning to you.
Okay. Madam Saheed and my dear friend Fuhad, this is my capital calling from the mainland.
Welcome, sir.
Yes. Thank you for the fantastic job you guys are doing.
Thank you.
My take this morning is on the issue of borrowing. You see, this country, I think the problem we have as a country or as a people is that we are too lily-livered and too chicken-hearted. And that is why those who find themselves in government by accident, they take advantage of us and do whatever they like. Under this government, this Nigerian administration, Nigerians have suffered untold hardship, extreme hardship, which many other people will not tolerate. If it is the Middle East, they will go bonkers. They will not tolerate it. But it seems there is no limit to which Nigerians can endure. And it is very pathetic. This issue of loans, talking of Buhari going to pay 22 trillion again in his twilight of his administration, I think that we as a people should resist it. Because it is obvious that the National Assembly, the Senate, does not care what happens to the future of our children. You know, we are owing almost 17 trillion now with this very one. How are we going to pay it? You know, the demand for our oil is not there. You know, nothing is there. All our youth are running out of the country. Exodus.
Thank you.
In the north, people are what we call the security implication.
Thank you so much.
You know, kidnapping and everything in the north. So,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, when we prompt you, please gather your thoughts. I don't have a habit of interrupting people because I don't want them to lose their train of thought. So when I start to say thank you, please know that that is an indication for you to start to round off what you're trying to get across. Please, so that we can have a good conversation this morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Eyon from Ikorodu.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think on the National Assembly positions, zoning or whatever, APC should know that they don't have this time around the numerical advantage as you have at other times. They should be very careful because what happens under Saraki's tenure should not happen to them. Because if the opposition come up together, you understand why they are still being that here, finding it difficult to come up with a consensus agreement of where I'm going to zone their position. Opposition can come up and say, okay, they can start up, they can a kind of consensus among them. And it becomes the Senate presidency and that of the speaker. So you should be very careful, because I believe I'm looking at it that it's going to be a kind of internal wrangling within them. If you want to make sure that Nigeria are being, is being looked upon as a country of interest to them, the president is a Muslim, his vice is a Muslim. Now you want to bring the presidency again to the north, and I know they are going to put a Muslim there. Where do you not put Christians here? They are talking about competency. It's only Muslims who are competent. The only Northerners who are competent. We have competency all over. We have it in the southwest, we have it in the south and in the southeast. So southeast are now producing. Give it to them to pacify them, so that there will be unity in the country. Find the competent person and give him that presidency that they say want to go back to the north. Understand? So if you want to make sure that Nigerians take them serious and to avoid all kinds of unrest, because a task ahead is very enormous. You don't want this presidency or zoning to come and bring another controversy here. You should please look into that critically and make sure they come up with a good arrangement for us here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And just to be clear, the Northern senators did not say that competency is only something that manifests in the North. They said that considerations like religion, ethnicity, tribe, or whatever should not be considered in the process. The primary factor, the determining factor, should be competence. That's what they said. But that does not necessarily directly translate to only Northerners are competent. All right, let's just be circumspect when we are interpreting certain things. And I needed to clarify that, so it's not like I got the wrong information out there. All right, but thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Fuhad.
Thank you.
Yes, there is no harm in borrowing, but you have to borrow to produce. You challenge it to good production, to proper production. For me, for example, let me take my own issue as an example. After COVID, my business ran down. I borrowed money, but not fully aware that I will have to pay back. I restructured my business. Today I have paid that back loan, and I'm making good money. See, until these people believe that Nigeria belongs to us. They believe that Nigeria does not belong to anybody. They do whatever they like. They borrow money to filter it away, to pay whatever they want to do, to pay bogus salary a moment for themselves, and run back again to go and borrow. Not fully aware that they are not obliged to pay back. They know. And you know what happens to people that borrow that cannot pay back? They lend and take over their assets. That is where they are pushing us to. Like Fuhad said, we are hanging on the cliff. If we don't know. And I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the civil liberty organization. This is like a society organization. They have even the Senate. Why don't they stand up now? It's only through election matters that they will take up positions. We are aligning with presidential candidates. Having all over the place. They should stand up and take out and hold these people by the neck. Now, enough is enough. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. Please, you can still send WhatsApp messages or text messages to the number 0913-6000-430. That's for text messages and WhatsApp messages. Please refrain from calling that particular number. We cannot take it. It's strictly for text messages and WhatsApp messages. If you want to call 0913-6000-410. That is the phone line. Or you could go to social media, Facebook, YouTube, and drop your messages on there. Let's go back to taking phone calls, and then we can take the few WhatsApp messages that we have for now. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right, we lost that particular call. Please try to turn down the volume on your radio. Thank you. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah, this is
all right. Do you mind stepping away from your radio, please?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
All right.
Presently.
Thank you.
Yeah. As regards this ways and means, I think people need to understand that we needed to standardize these means in acceptable forms of debt monetization. It is also true that we all have to agree that it starts at 5%, which we all know that in line with what has been said, the government has somehow flouted those rules. And the reason why the Nigeria do it, we have a shortfall in revenue, and we needed to borrow. So government had no other option than to turn to CBN to evade this impending recession that was staring us in the face.
government decided to go through this route to become, indebted locally than internationally, because we all understand that it is less burdensome having to go and borrow rather than having to go and borrow from IMF and all of that. And the domestic debt will be in naira for everybody to be able to run it. And for me, it only made sense for Buhari to securitize this, because this money had already been spent. And what he has done simply is to say that rather than allow this money to go down the drain, or we say stories on the long run, all we needed to do was to look for people, in form of a bond, look for people to take up the debt, do a 3 years moratorium period, and pay over 9 years. And for me, that simply just makes sense. It even shows how transparent we are.
Thank you.
Rather than going to borrow money, rather than paying interest at 18%, why not run it at 9%? So we all need to understand that. And for me, it is the right thing to do. Either we hate it or love it or care about. Government was in dire need.
Thank you.
And the only place we could go was to get money from them. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, well, I mean, this would not have been subject to such scrutiny if we had capital projects that were somewhat corresponding with the amount of monies that we have borrowed so far. And yes, as much as, I do have my reservations, but my opinion doesn't count. I believe that most people are of the opinion that local debt is actually better than going to borrow from the World Bank or the IMF or, taking the Chinese loans and what have you. I don't know if that is counterproductive, taking money out of a system that is considered as quote and unquote broke. But then that's the whole point of conversation. Different opinions, that's what makes conversation beautiful. What we're going to do is take a few WhatsApp messages and then go back to the phone lines. Not to worry, I'll do the best I can to take as many contributions as possible. So we have this message here. Good morning, Sage and Fuhad. It is very laughable that the government that failed woefully for a complete 8 years is planning on 2050 economic standard. What a millennium. Honestly, our leaders wonderful. This is going to be very difficult, so I have to do a lot of editing, but regardless, on the endorsement of Senate for a fresh loan of 22.7 trillion naira, it only reflects a concluded conspiracy against the people of Nigeria by some unrepentant conquerors ruling our country. This government is not doing very well, let's say it like that. What kind of project remains to be executed? For how many days? In fact, we really need to go back to the drawing board, sit down and redefine our democracy, the federalism system we're practicing, and map out strategies to restructure this country completely. Otherwise, we will just continue to move around in circles and the future of this country will still remain in twilight. God help us. Damilola from Alaba. Thank you very much, Damilola. You're a regular contributor to the show, so I'm quite shocked that you would send messages that have so many. But anyways, thank you for sending a message. Please, just in case you see that I maybe not read your messages or something, it's because there are certain things on there that we're not permitted to air. I can't read it out on air. So if you're sending a message, make sure that you go through it and it's civil. It's something that is pleasant to the ear and it still conveys your message. All right. Thank you very much. We have another one here. Good morning, Sage and Fuad. This is Godwin from Ilasa. My take on the federal government's borrowing from CBN is this. It's quite unfortunate that we have leaders who either lack the intelligence or political ability to think outside the box and generate funds. It's unfortunate that this government had to choose to go around borrowing. I agree with Fuad that things like this should be contested by labor union and civil organizations. Nigeria must find a way of stopping those government rascality. If Nigerians are wading the difficult business waters of this country and are succeeding, then enough of this borrowing. For the doctors, I have an NGO that works in a medical environment. Our doctors work under a very risky and challenging situation. Unfortunately, Nigeria does not have the plan for this brides. Hence, we always lose them to better prepared grooms from Western countries. As of January this year, 85% of our doctors have left our shores. There are some medical departments in Nigeria that have 3 consultants in the whole country. This is way too long, so I might need to stop there. My apologies, is lengthy. So please, brevity. Brevity is also something that is necessary if you're sending a WhatsApp message. Thank you. I'll read this one and go back to the phones. Hi, Mainland FM. My open mic is on the borrowing by this government. This is really concerning and conditions for this borrowing is still never made known to us. At this rate, I believe almost all of our resources and port would have been controlled and directed to these countries that keep borrowing us money. At this rate, at least 2 generations will pass before we can pay back these loans. We have resources that we can explore and pay back these loans, but instead we decided to go back on our knees to keep borrowing. My thought is that part of the condition for borrowing is that we will not explore our natural resources and keep sinking into despair. Corruption has really eaten deep into our lives, both internally and externally, and until we can fight this corruption, we will continue to go round in circles. A message from Sean. Thank you very much for your message. We're going back to phones now. Hello.
Good morning, Fish.
Yes, morning to you.
Okay,
all right.
So I'm sure you watched the commissioning of the flyover bridge yesterday in Port Harcourt.
Yes.
It was live on 2 national television.
Okay.
And then they went in the evening and they were doing what they call banquet. In that banquet, I counted there were more than 1,000 top politicians. There were dancers, all manner of things. You know, and we say we are owing debt. Our debt is like almost 70 trillion now. I was thinking the president-elect, when they invite you for such a thing, you say, okay, I'll just take a few hours, commission whatever, and go back. But we carried there were almost more than 1,000 people there.
I don't know about 1,000 politicians. I mean, don't you think that's slightly exaggerated? I mean, there were a lot of people there.
I don't know. That's my own. Look, I'm entitled to my own business. That's the way I counted it.
Yes, but I don't know how you counted 1,000 people.
Hold on.
All right. We're going to take another phone call now. Hello, good morning to you. Yes, good morning.
Nobody is saying that borrowing is not good.
Yeah.
The previous caller before this will know that when you are borrowing, does it commensurate exactly with what you have borrowed, the spending? What are you spending it on? Are you accountable to people? Are you transparent? Is there probity? That is what we are saying. You don't keep borrowing. You don't support something that is bad. This is the argument they put up to support these people. And they keep doing this.
Thank you.
But just paid up our debt.
Thank you very much.
These people are not taking out of the box. I give you an analogy of myself. I know I have to borrow and pay back with this people later tonight. I'm enjoying now. So what are we saying?
Thank you very much.
We have brains now.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Hey, Babalola, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Now, I think if I could understand very vividly, the issue is not about borrowing. What was guidelines followed, we are talking about flouting the Syrian guideline and borrowing. And then, my concern now is that how do we have a government that keeps flouting guidelines for doing things? The other time we were talking about the INEC flouting even their guidelines in the conduct of elections. Some time ago we were talking about flouting the guideline in buying tobacco. That when he unilaterally did his stand in the national force without going through a national assembly some years ago and flouted. Now my question is, with the kind of constitution we are having, because people will come now and tell you that, the constitution did not provide penalty for such actions. My concern now is, how do we have a constitution that can spell out penalty for whether president or governors are flouting the guidelines for doing things? And number 2, my brother there had been hammering on restructuring. But I want to surprise you. This is a monster. From 2012, almost 12 years now, we have been talking about restructuring, and nobody pays attention. They even set up committee. Prepare how we're going to go. In fact, say we will restructure. At the end of the day, where are we? So the situation remains that with the kind of constitution we are having, until we sit down, review this constitution comprehensively, or we throw it away and write a new constitution that will spell out punishment for wrongdoing. We will never go anywhere. Nobody should give me false hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Hello. All right, we lost that particular one, but you can still call back if you like. 0913 6000 410. WhatsApp text messages 0913 6000 430. Hello. Yes, good morning.
You cut me off now. I was not done. I was just telling you the number of people that were there. What was wrong with that?
Who? You're here now. Yes. Go ahead. And how do you know that I cut you off? Go ahead. You're here now.
I'm saying that if we get that number of people that were in that place, look at the kind of entertainment, look at all kinds of money they spend just to commission a bridge. Why can't we just say, look, let me just commission? Because the money they spend can even build another bridge. Why would they be spending money on our own? The politicians are not behaving like a country that is in debt. I was thinking the president-elect will say, look, no, I will not take all these things. Let me just commission and go. So that people don't come and spend money on anything like this. But we are in the same thing again, the same cycle. The people that are going, they are going. The same people are coming back again. So how will Nigeria develop when they just dwell on ostentation? That's my problem.
Good morning to you too. Thank you for your contribution. Duly noted. Hello.
Good morning to you, Babalola.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you, my dear. You see this one. My name is Fuhad, calling from Amuwadofin.
Yes, good morning.
Now, I want to comment on yesterday at Siwaju at the weekend. Wike so love with people that he demand for the sort of money that bridge we commission yesterday it belongs to federal government. Yes, that's it to be. And the response of Asiwaju, in fact, are really crazy. Nobody can hold this man prestige. If this man swine comes May 29, it's ready to start this country. And I'm still telling him, when you come on board, you must marry 4 wives. That is 6 wives I recommend for him. What are those 6 wives? The 6 political, the southwest, the southeast, the south-south, the north central, the northwest, the northeast. He must develop every region equally. Give every region that they are all Nigeria. So for me, Asiwaju, I like your response yesterday that you are not ruining Wike, but you are ruining Nigeria is not a goodies. So for me, I appreciate both of them. Wike is somebody. If Asiwaju come on board, I want that man to be minister because it's capable. Commission will get here and there. That's the type of man we need in this country. And he not to play the game. President is not yet in office. He has invited him. He will looking to prepare for his own state. That's supposed to be. Babalola.
Yes.
Let me stop that. May God save Nigeria.
Thank you so very much for calling. We appreciate your contribution. Let me take 2 more calls before I go back to WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, Mainland 98.3 FM. We are streaming live, so head on to our social media platform and leave your contributions on there if you would like to participate in today's conversation. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
My name is Esther.
Esther. It's nice to have you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Is this your first time calling?
No, it's not my first time.
Oh, all right. Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Okay. We thank God. I like what you told Lincoln. So this is how they have been doing. So we did what we did so that we will get compensation. Now, the federal government says, the government says that it's not supposed to be our children yet. And the first is that they continue working for 70 years or 55. Then I think that in 20 years, we'll be waiting till they get to 55. They get job. No food, no security, no rights, no enabling environment, nothing. And you want us to die. So we won't let us die. No, imagine something. We had a assembly. All of them went back first time and spent our money. Now they are taking a different pattern. So that is criteria. If it had been here, they will have standard pattern. I have never seen EFCC, taking everybody's serious that she will be this. We committed atrocity. They are borrowing money every day. Borrowing money, borrow. Then we are the ones to get job and pay them. So our offense. for them, then we die. They should not come out again and say we should vote for them. Because they are telling us that we are nothing. The is better everything.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it was quite difficult to comprehend half of the things you said, but thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Chifu Gochifu.
Yes.
Yeah, my own take is about Commissioner Bridge that people are talking about. You see, it doesn't matter who make a call to come and commission the work done in River State. Whether I call Donald Trump or Biden or President of France, the question is, has he done the job? Has he done the job? That is what people want. We want see good road. We want see water. We want seafood. We want sea security. No matter how they do it, I don't care. So people will stop with it. You would have to spend the 2 hours. How many hours you spend does not concern you. Because if you spend 2 minutes, you will complain. If you spend the 5 hours, you will complain. Until we change our orientation, until we renew our mind, begin to see Nigeria, stop this sentimental statement we are making. Please, it's annoying.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate your submission on the issue. This is Mainland Focus. It's open mic Thursday, which means that you get to call in and talk about whatever is bothering you. Maybe an issue on the state of the economy. You don't like what's going on in the country with regards to security and what have you. This is the platform for you to call in and air your grievances. Again, respectfully. A lot of people seem to be very interested about the rising debt profile of the country, which somehow is being described as the bane of our development in the country. Some say that maybe local loans, that's the Ways and Means loan, is actually preferable if we compare it to what's going on with the amount of money that we're borrowing from international communities. Something that is better to owe, the country you borrow from yourself than to owe the World Bank or the IMF and other channels through which we borrow these monies. I would also like to hear if you share those sentiments with those who think that it's better to borrow from the CBN and take away that 5% limits that has been placed in the CBN Act of 2007, or we should just continue borrowing from international communities as long as we spend these monies on capital projects that would yield revenue and make it easy for us to pay back these loans rather than spend a chunk of our budget servicing the debt. 0913-6000-410 is the phone line. WhatsApp text messages 0913-6000-430. Let's run through the messages that we've gotten so far. I'll be back to the phones in just a few minutes. Hi Mainland FM, my open mic is on the borrowing by this government. This is really concerning, and the conditions for these borrowing is still never made known to us. At this rate, I believe almost all of our resources and ports would have been controlled. Okay, I think I already read this. You sent it twice rather. Nigeria's challenge has always been that people blessed with leadership quality have no interest or are not allowed to showcase their skills. This is why it's very difficult for our leaders to understand that you cannot borrow for consumption and expect growth economically. You can only borrow for production before improvement will come. It's simple arithmetic. Chika Bende from Trade Fair, Lagos. Very nicely put. Okay, from Idimu Alimosho. Good morning, crew. My own opinion is that the National Assembly, their enumerations and other benefits, like when I see the vehicles for National Assembly Vice President and other things, not until we can reduce what we're spending on our National Assembly before we can be better in this country. Let our restructure begin with our National Assembly. This person is talking about the cost of government and the ripple effect it has on our crippled economy at this time. All right, thank you. Good morning, Mainland FM. My take is on the borrowing of our leaders. They have less than 3 weeks to leave power and they still go on to borrow another set of trillions. What do they want to do with this monies in less than a month? Why can't they leave the borrowing for the incoming government? Secondly, the rate at which people are being killed in Benue, Kaduna and Zamfara by headsmen and terrorists is really concerning. And with the way it's going, majority of these communities will abandon their land for the terrorists. I plead with the government to please come to the rescue of these people before it's too late. And once they conquer these lands, they will continue to conquer more. A message from Adewumi. Thank you so much for your message. Now back to the phone lines. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah. My name is I'm calling from the
Do you think it's possible for you to go to a calmer environment? There's a feedback. It's very unpleasant. Please. Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. My take is on, first of all, is on this borrowing, government excessive borrowing. My surprise, and I'm still wondering why everybody is keeping quiet. And since this is a complete and total conspiracy against the future of our children and children. We are supposed to be worried. The government has started borrowing from the north of the whistle. Immediately when he entered after all, he started making the first proposal he made to the National Assembly is for borrowing, foreign borrowing from all manner of people, Chinese government, from World Bank, all manner of places. What is taking this loan for is what I'm yet to understand. This is the government that built infrastructure for foreign countries. It's something that I've never had in my life. They continue to borrow for salary, borrow for things that as if we don't generate net revenue anymore in this country. And we should begin to wake up and begin to get our act together until we begin to do things. Although it's already late, but we are going to regret it because of what has happened already. We should not complain in future because Nigeria has been sold. The future of our nation, of our children and the children yet unborn has been tampered with, have been mortgaged. So that is my worry. And just briefly on the Senate or National Assembly leadership, I want everything to be done to the north. And in fact, I don't want us from the east that let the all those Okano not get it because we say that the religion doesn't matter. So let another movement take it from the north.
Thank you very much for your contribution. We appreciate you. Keep the calls coming in 0913 6000 410. Please, you have just 2 minutes allotted to you, so everything that you want to say, make sure it's within the speech band of 2 minutes. All right. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Let me check this WhatsApp message here. Good morning, Babatunde from Akumajo. He says democracy is defined as a government for the people, by the people. Is democracy in Nigeria really for the people and by the people? Are the Nigerian populace the ones borrowing the money, especially when we don't see any reflection of what they're used for? Not also forgetting that poverty is at its peak at present. Who is the government borrowing from? Babatunde there with that message on WhatsApp. Hello.
So, my dear sister.
Yes. Morning to you.
Article of Tunumbu campaigning. I was the only one that asked that question.
Can you first tell us your name?
Nigerians will ask.
Can you tell us your name first? Your name, where you're calling from, please.
Where are you getting it?
Can you please tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Because we are government.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yes, that's Mainland FM.
Yes.
My name is Yusuf. I'm calling from Oshodi.
All right, thank you, Yusuf.
Yeah, thank you.
Fuhad.
Good morning.
Yes, here with you.
My girlfriend, thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you.
My own take this morning is on this borrowing. My auntie, we are all here in this country. Our children were home for 8 months. We are borrowing. But the express rate, for over the years, we never do them. We are still borrowing. Doctors, nurses, everybody is going abroad. We are still borrowing. When are we going to start asking these our people questions in this country? What are they borrowing this money for again? Continue piling up debts for our children yet unborn. It is not fair. People are doing a very wonderful job. I just pray God will touch their heart one day so that they will listen to all this program and do the right thing. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Madam Chair. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Mainland FM 98.3.
Welcome.
Yes, Michael is my name.
Yes.
From Ikeja.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. I heard that our people here, they are pleading to the UK government about the economic matters.
I don't understand your question. What's your question?
I mean, what I'm about to say is concerning the economic matter in the UK.
Yeah.
That our Senate here, they are pleading to the UK government for them to temper justice with mercy. As for me,
I am pleading to the current UK government for them to have no year for the man of for the Ezekiel money, so that our lawmakers here they will learn a lesson from there, and they will bring a good hospital to our nation. So that's my take.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. We appreciate it. Let's take another phone call. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Please, it's loud. It's very loud where you are, please. Hello.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm on the road. My name is Daniel.
All right, welcome.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good morning. My name is Daniel from Ikeja.
Go ahead, Daniel.
So I've been listening to the show for some time now, and I've been hearing about this borrowing from the Nigerian government. You know, this thing can be very, very easily resolved, because I believe there are organizations that have been set up to question the government about how they borrow. I hope you are understanding me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. According to some news you guys talked about before, the president paid some amounts due to the debt that they have been borrowing before. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm trying to say right now is that Nigeria can actually pay their debt because they have the capacity to, but they are not going to pay because of some random thing the government is doing. And this thing they are borrowing right now, they can easily pay back, but they will not. Well, I don't know. I just hope that one day they realize what they are doing and they stop doing what they are doing and make things better for us in Nigeria.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your submission. We appreciate that. We cannot take any more call because I know that a lot of people might not be able to stick to the 2 minutes, allotted to them, and we really don't want to cut anybody off. So I'll just round off by reading some of the WhatsApp messages that we've gotten so far. Good morning, Mainland FM family. The problem is our leaders. There's no accountability. They do what they like. Rahim from Agege is the author of that message. There's another one here. Abraham Ayotunde from Osun State says, I love the response of Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday in River State. Please help me ask Wike if he used his personal money to build the road and bridges. A lot of drama in the coming days. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. Good afternoon, or good morning, Sage. I beg your pardon. The incident of Ekweremadu in the UK is a welcome development. Lesson to Nigerian rulers and senators. If he carries drug in Indonesia, no matter the person's position, he will be killed. This is not Nigeria where anything goes. They can buy justice, buy their way into power. Imagine the president. Okay. Thank you very much, Daya from Fagba. I should have actually known from the first 3 sentences. But thank you for your contribution. This is where we will draw the curtains for today's conversation. Thank you so very much. Open Mic Thursday happens on Thursdays. Of course, the name already gives you that indication where you can call in and talk to us about whatever story you think is important to you. There's a lot of expectation of the incoming administration. Everybody's like fingers crossed waiting for what will be done the minute they assume power. There's a lot of problems, country specific problems. We have 133 million people living below the poverty line. We have 20 million out of school children. Inflation rate is currently at 22.04%. Our public debt is rising really fast, almost 70 trillion naira. Interest rate 18%. Unemployment rate projected to be 40% before the end of the year. And this does not even begin to capture the amount of country specific issues that the incoming administration is going to have to tackle. So our rising debt profile is also something of concern. So let's just see how this plays out, and hopefully they're able to take the initiative to come up with specific solutions to specific problems, as history has taught us that one size fits all does not necessarily work when we're trying to rectify problems. My name is Sage Babalola. Once again, thank you for your contribution. We will go on another break. 9:45 we'll be back for Global View, so we'll be reviewing stories about events happening in international communities. Don't go anywhere. It's Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
98.3